This podcast is all about happiness. What gave it away? I'm Fayon Dixon and welcome to Happy Talk. Each week, I will be introducing you to someone that I share a happy connection with. I just believe that we all have happy stories, happy events, and we sit on them. We never share them. So this is the platform for doing it. I work as a presenter, broadcaster, events host. I work with stroke survivors. I have my own children's radio show. And I've been really lucky in the last 20 years to do work where I just ooze happiness. Yeah, I'm one of those people. My cup is eternally overflowing.
Hello and welcome to another Happy Talk with me, Fayon Dixon. Good news, good guests, no grief. It's so wonderful to have with me Elena Rodríguez Falcón. Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, Fayon. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Honestly, I was so pleased when you said yes to the request, so thank you.
Absolutely.
Elena, before we get into all of it, I want to share some good news with you. I have some friends on the internet, on Instagram, and they're called News from the Rooftop. And it literally is news worth shouting about. What they tend to do is follow campaigns and issues that are making a difference and, really changing society and empowering people. So I sort of go through their news and I pick something to share. And the news that I want to share with you is about a 7-year-old girl called Alice. And Alice Jones is from Cheltenham. And she recently climbed Mount Snowdon. Okay. I know.
Wow.
I know. And she decided to do it for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And that's the foundation that grants children who are critically ill a wish. And the reason she did this was because she was inspired by a friend who'd actually had a wish granted. And she was just like, right, I'm going to do something. But, she's 7 now, but her fundraising actually started when she was just 4 years of age. And at 4 years of age, she cut off 12 inches of her hair. She has done bake sales, she's done fun days, and to date she's raised over £3,500. Isn't that magnificent?
That is just absolutely incredible. And I mean, when you hear about any efforts, but hearing an effort of a 7-year-old little girl climbing a mountain, literally, actually, to help others is just the kind of thing that you want to hear every day.
Absolutely. And I mean, the mountain itself is, I'm getting this right, 3,560 is it meters? Feet? I forget now, but it's high. And she climbed it within 3.5 hours. She was up and back down again. I mean, young legs.
That is incredible, Fayon.
I love this news so much. And, I think she's one to watch out for. I mean, to start as young as 4 and just have this determination, I think she's going to be somebody that we'll hear lots and lots about, really.
Where do you think she got the inspiration? She saw someone else doing this because at 4 years of age, getting inspired to donate your hair, then climb a mountain. That comes from either your inner strength, but also seeing others. Role models are so important.
Yeah. I believe this little girl has an inner strength and something inside her that wants to help and support others. I mean, the Make-A-Wish Foundation came around because she'd heard about a friend of hers who'd had a wish granted. That got her doing that. But yeah, I just think some people have got that thing where they just want to make a difference and they just want to give in any way they can. And they look at their resources, they look at what's around them and they think, right, how can I help? So, I mean, so cool. So that's the first bit of news that I am sharing. So thank you for chipping in on that. But you hear about all different types of fundraising and you know, in this time that we're in right now, people are super, super creative. I want to speak to you though about the connections I have with you. And the first connection I have is a fantastic event that we both worked on together. It was an all-woman panel of engineers, scientists, mathematicians, you know, technology. It was at the Big Bang Fair, and it was in March.
Astronauts, if I remember correctly.
An astronaut, thank you, thank you. Not just science, but an astronaut, a woman astronaut. And it was in 2019 in the March, and this all-woman forum, this stage like this had never been done before. I was the host, and what was so fantastic that just brings me this wonderful connection to you is that we both want to inspire young girls to be greater, don't we? We really do.
Yeah, we do.
And, you know, it's part of what you do. And for me as a host, you know, I just want to network people towards where they can be inspired. And I'll never forget, it was about 30, we had seating for 100 people in the bit that we cordoned off at the Big Bang Fair. And literally about 30 young girls came in before we'd even started and started placing their coats down on seats. And I could hear them mentioning your name. They were talking about how much they wanted to see you. And I was just like, wow, this woman is a superstar.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I save these little gems for moments like this. And, you know, I said, what? You can't stand that. We don't want to miss anything. We don't want to miss. We want the front seat. We want to see Elena Rodríguez Falcón. We want to hear about the work that she's doing. They were about 12, 13 years of age, and they were so excited. So, you know, that forum that we had on stage together, wasn't it magnificent?
It was amazing. It was at the Big Bang Fair, and it's an event to encourage young people to consider science, engineering, technology, math, and it's an amazing event. And certainly STEM subjects are amazing ways of making a difference to the world. Thinking about little Alice Jones, who is already making a difference to the world. I'm thinking, Alice, join science, technology, maths, make a difference. You can make a wider difference, actually.
Yeah, and I have no doubt we're going to see her name keep popping up through the years. But yeah, that's a wonderful time that we had. And we've worked together since then. We've worked on other events where we are networking and interviewing you. So this is the first time I've had you in an interview situation. I love this. And I just want to toot your horn for a second. Because you are a professor. You are an acclaimed professor and someone who has literally, I think, taken the rule book and literally just thrown it over their shoulder with regards to setting up an education facility in Sheffield. How's it all going?
Well, I was in Sheffield until recently. I'm in Hereford. That's where we are setting up this education institution. So yes, it's so exciting, Fayon, because as you know, but the people who are watching us won't know, there is a shortage of engineers, and that's why the Big Bang Fair is important. Events to raise aspirations are important, but we still need ways of training work-ready, diverse engineers. So here in Hereford, we are setting up a new higher education institution to precisely do that, to train engineers to be mindful of the context, mindful of society, mindful of the challenges we are facing in the world, and we're facing way too many challenges. But the good news, the happy news is that we can make a difference. And so I'm very excited because we are nearly ready. We'll be opening our doors very soon. And so I hope that once we do that, people will be coming to Hereford and experiencing what it is to be an engineer whilst studying.
It's just magnificent what you're doing. Now, I don't want to get too much into the work stuff for now. We've done that, but I have to tip my hat to you, Professor. I really do. But I want to share something as well that you and I have in common. I don't meet many of these people, so when I do meet you, the kind of people that we are, I love to talk about it. We are both only children, aren't we?
Oh yes, we are. I didn't know you were. We are.
The way I say it, we're only children. We're a certain age, but you know, my mum says, "Oh, she's my only child," even to this day. And you know, I'm married to a man who comes from a family of 8, and yeah, 8. And you know, he's got lots and lots of nieces and nephews, and I've always been drawn, even though I had a lot of cousins that literally lived a stone away, a throw of a stone away from me, and a best friend that lived in the next street. And I always had friends around me and easy to get to family. I actually loved being an only child, but I was drawn to bigger families. I loved being in the hustle and bustle of a bigger family. And I wanted to ask you if you were the same.
Well, it's interesting you should say that. So I'm an only child with a very big extended family. But as it happened, my parents got married. They moved to a big city in Mexico. I'm from Mexico. And so my relatives, my cousins, everyone who's part of the family lived about 3 hours away. So I was an only child I don't want this to sound like I was lonely, but I wasn't, because every time I had an opportunity, I went back to visit my family and my relatives, and they are like we are a very close family. But I think maybe because of that, I craved having siblings. Although having said that, I've seen so many families with siblings where they are at each other's throats, and sometimes I think, why? I mean, I wish I had a sibling.
Do you know, I used to want to be a twin. Yeah, I didn't want a brother or a sister, older or younger than me. I wanted a twin. I used to think about all the mischief I could have got up to if there was another me, you know.
I think one of you is way more than enough.
I think my mum would agree with you.
You know, it's funny, Fayon, you were saying about your mom saying my child. My mom and dad call me the little girl, and that's the way it is. I suspect parents who are close to their children always see them as little ones. I don't have children, so I don't imagine. I don't know how I would be, but my parents certainly, they always see me as the little girl, and whatever I do, they celebrate, and it's like a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, you know, my mum would make sure that every birthday there was a cake and there was a party. So as a result, I am big on birthdays. So my mum, yeah, big on birthdays. And even, I mean, if there's a 0 in any of our birthdays, woo, we're celebrating for months. That's, you know, how we roll.
It was my mom's 70th birthday on last September the 13th. So back in Mexico, during this year that has been so difficult, I'm an only child and I couldn't travel to Mexico. So I spent the 2 or 3 months before September preparing, and just I wanted to have something special for my mom. So I got lots of friends, cousins, uncles, everyone to do a little video. Yes. I put it together in a film, and I think my mom wasn't expecting that. And also I hired her a mariachi that is in London to record a couple of songs for her. And so I think she had possibly one of the best birthdays that she's ever had. Yeah. And you, if you are creative and if you care, if you put your might and your heart on these things, then you can make someone really happy. My mom was happy.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And, I go the extra mile for my mum because, I just know how much, how, how many efforts she, sorry, let me say that again. I know the effort she puts into everything that I do. If I tell her I've done something really small, there's a card in the post, well done, for whatever it is. And I kind of have that thing as well. It's infectious, and I like surprising my mum. She says she doesn't like surprises, but I know she does. And when she turned 80 yesterday, when she turned 80 last year, although we weren't in lockdown, I took her away to a beautiful sort of spa hotel, but it was like this little castle in Stratford upon Avon, just on the outside.
Oh, nice.
And I said to her, you and I are going for 3 days. We're going to chill. Bring your finest, because she loves dressing up, and bring it all. Bring all your bling. Yeah. What she didn't know is that I'd organised for us to have the first night together and dinner, but then I'd organised with the hotel staff to sit us in certain places, and at breakfast there was champagne, and I'd organised for the people who were in the hotel, like other guests, to sing to her.
That's amazing.
So we sat there having breakfast, and all of a sudden I gave the nod and everybody, happy birthday to you. Yeah, she's like, what's going on? And then I asked her then later on in the day, once we'd had our spa and everything, I said, dressed up and I'll take your picture. She's like, oh, Faye, I'm not. And she wouldn't get dressed up. She was like, no, it's fine. I'm just going to wear this. So I had to think of something to get her to dress up, because I had invited family and friends to join us for dinner and drinks that evening. And I didn't want her just to be in whatever. I wanted her to be in her best bling. So I had to tell a little white lie and tell her that I had a photographer coming to take her picture. And she was like, oh no, I don't want to have my picture taken. And I was like, oh, gosh. Anyway, she was like, Faye, I don't know why you've got to go to so much trouble and expense, and this is enough. And I'm like, Mum, it's never enough. So anyway, she got dressed up in her best bling, and people started coming one by one. We were sat on like a massive area near a beautiful fireplace and everything. And she was like, why are we sitting here? There's like a little table over there. Yeah, because we needed the space for all the people who were coming. And, even my husband, who she'd spoken to that morning, who was on his way to Stratford, he basically told a little white lie and said he was at work. So when he popped up, she was like, oh my gosh, everybody's lying. And it was a beautiful celebration. It really was. But family is really important, isn't it?
It is, to me, it is very important. And I like listening to you and how caring you are of your mom, because I feel exactly the same way. So I think we are lucky children, but also we have very lucky moms.
Oh my gosh, I treasure her like a queen. She's just amazing. So before we get on to your show and tell, I can't ignore the fact that you've got Christmas tree, tinsel up, and it is the 18th of November. And you're not wearing a Christmas jumper as well, are you?
It is a bit Christmassy. not quite. I did think about it, but I thought Fayon is going to think I've lost it. But
hello.
To me. To me and to my partner Tracy, who we both love Christmas anyway, and of course we, because of the circumstances of this particular year and how difficult it is, we decided that it was important for us to make sure that we were merry no matter what. So we decorated last week, downstairs, upstairs, even our bedroom has a Christmas tree. We have 3 Christmas trees, Fayon. One in this house office, one in our bedroom, and one downstairs.
Fantastic. And
With little Christmas trees everywhere.
oh my gosh. Have you done anything with your garden as well? Because I was thinking of putting lights out in the trees in our garden.
We haven't, but only because it's slightly wet and we don't want to cause an accident.
Lights that, completely like rainproof or whatever you call it. So yeah, you can get those. Just stay in, because it doesn't sound like you've got enough. I was on, I reviewed the newspapers for Talk Radio, and I was on with them a couple of weeks ago with Daryl Morris, and we were talking about, how people, are going to be separated this year, and, who's going to be able to come for Christmas dinner and da-da-da-dee. And, I always try and find the positive in all news. And I was like, well, just like with my birthday, I never just celebrate my birthday on the 2nd of July. I have the run up and I have the after. And like I said, it's got 0 in it. It could go on for months. Yeah, literally months. The same way about Christmas. And you're on the same tip as me. You're not crazy. You are clever, lady. Get it started now. Why not? And spread it out.
make it last. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As you said, we don't know how things are going to pan out this year, and finding the positive on everything. See, right now you're sharing my Christmas. There you go.
You beat my friend Donna. My friend Donna, I've known her all my life, and Donna starts Christmas shopping literally on Boxing Day. Yeah, it's all boxed off. Christmas is boxed off by the end of August. Yeah, she's got everything. And she is a huge Christmas advocate. She loves it so much. And she's got sisters, and her sisters love Christmas. Madonna loves Christmas. So, and her parents are not with us now, but they would literally decorate the house. You could see it from the moon. The house was just incredible. Not a bush, not a flower, not a piece of brickwork was without a fairy light on it. And you literally walk into their house and it'd be like, wow, lights everywhere. So yeah, they're going to be doing whatever they can to make Christmas special as well. But usually Donna is the first person who brings Christmas to me. I'm going to let her know that you've done it first. Okay, it's time. Elena, I'm ready for your show and tell.
You have better rhythm than me, but I will dance with you.
I'm always dancing, whether there's music or no music. There's always a tune going on.
So, I'm going to show you, everyone. This is a framed painting on glass. It was painted by numbers, and I'm going to bring it closer because I want you to see the name. It says Oscar.
Yes.
And it was done back in 92.
Yeah.
So this is an item that makes me very happy. It brings me lots of memories, and it was painted by someone who has inspired the rest of my life. So Oscar was a brother of a good friend of mine back at uni. He had an accident, unfortunately, when he was 20 years of age. He broke his neck and he lost mobility of basically all his body except his left hand. You would have heard me talk about Oscar before because he's inspired my actual work. But Oscar was a resilient, really happy man, regardless of his accident. And he used to use a device on his hand to paint. So this he painted for my birthday. Talking about birthdays, so it was a birthday in 92. So we're talking about a long time ago. And this is him giving me a little flower in this thing. But I wanted also to show you that in the back, because he couldn't write, obviously, he only had a bit of movement. He used to use a pen to type. And he wrote, here, you won't be able to read it, it's in Spanish, but the main message is about gratitude. Gratitude for walking a journey with him, gratitude for sharing time together, gratitude for being able to give me, as well as giving him. And he is signed as he could with basically a pen on top of his hand. So this is traveled with me through countries and countries and countries. Sadly, Oscar passed away several years ago. He's no longer with us, but he would be very happy that I'm talking about him and that we are still walking the journey together somehow.
Oh my gosh. That is amazing. It's brought a lump to my throat. I mean, it's such an inspirational story. And look at you two. You're adorable, the two of you.
Yes, it normally takes a very special place here, so that I can always remember what he did for me, because of course my work has always been now uh, based on what he did, what he could do. And I always try to tell my students and those who want to listen that if you can use whatever skills you have, whether they are engineering skills or any skills you have, to make people's life better, you should. Because there are people like Oscar who, if he hadn't had that little device that allowed him to paint, to type, it would have been even a more difficult life than it was.
Yeah.
In difficulties, in challenges, he found a way to show love. And if people who are going through difficult times can show love this way and happiness, we should all try to do it too.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, you.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
Gorgeous. This is happy talk. I'm crying. I'm crying.
Come on, it's tears of happiness, I hope, because
Gorgeous. And you know, I'm all about gratitude and being grateful for the tiniest little thing. And we live in a world of have nots. You know, we haven't got this, we haven't got that, we're worried about this, we're worried about that. And then you see people like Alice, for instance, a 7-year-old girl who's capable of doing something that, you know, people many, many, many years her senior worry about doing. And then Oscar, and I love the fact that you didn't say that, you know, he couldn't do this or he couldn't do that. You just focused on what he could do, and what he could do is make such a difference that we're still talking about this so many, many years after he's passed. I thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you.
it is a very special gift that I received that keeps on giving. And as long as we keep the memory and what he did, and we talk about it, you'll share this with others will benefit from this, I hope. Something that I'll mention, because I was thinking about Alice just for a moment, and thinking about Oscar. Oscar used to paint these types of paintings, and some really big ones, actually some very impressive ones. It would take him months and months and months, something that you and I could perhaps do in a few hours. It would take him months and months and months. And then he would raffle them, to then raise funds for people with disabilities, or to help people to get some sort of medical devices to help them.
Yeah.
And then he would donate that to other people. And I think I think that there is a huge lesson in finding an opportunity to make a difference,
Yeah.
no matter what you are, no matter who you are, and your abilities to do things. Because I think if we have the opportunity and there is someone who needs even a word of support, let alone help, then that's why human beings exist, I think.
Absolutely right. Do you know, you've made me think of a Buddhist friend of ours called Andy. I must give him a call. He had a motorbike accident in his early 20s, I think it was, like mid 20s. I mean, he's now in his 50s, I suppose. And it was such a bad accident. He ended up losing the use of his arm, and you had both of his arms actually. Yeah. So so he's got one that completely just is there. And then the other one, over the years, he's been able to kind of get the movement back, but only a little bit. But he had no interest in art, but he started drawing with his feet. He started drawing with his feet, taught himself to do that, and he's had exhibitions, and he started off painting by numbers as well. And he's an incredible, incredible artist, and so inspirational. And thank you for mentioning Oscar, because I'm going to give Andy a call after I've spoken to you and just like check in with him and say, hey, how you doing? Because it's been a while. We used to be in touch a lot. So I'm going to do that.
But you also should think about, for example, the work that you are doing, Fayon. Right now, you are doing these happy talks that are trying to bring happiness to people across the pond, really, in times of difficulty, and you're using your skills, your passion to do something to make a difference, and that's what we are talking about.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you can paint, you can just use what you have. Use the I used to do an exercise with my students. I used to give them crayons. Different students would get a random selection of crayons. Some would have one or two, some three or four, some none, or maybe just one. Some would have just white crayons. And then I would give them a task around tables. Each one would have their selection of crayons, and I would give them a task and say, draw a house with a family, and you would see different things happening there. Some individuals would take their crayons and draw their own house. Some there was a rule: no one could talk to each other.
Right.
There was no way of communicating.
Yeah.
So you would see what happened. So they couldn't communicate. So some would just draw their own houses. Some would sign and say, "Come on, let's put all our crayons together." Some tables would have only white crayons, and they would not be able to draw the house. And when you reflect on what that meant, I used to say to them, just imagine those crayons being your skills and your capabilities, or your gifts, depending of how you see this. If you can see it from a spiritual way as well, but depending on your beliefs. But if it's skills and gifts, some people have lots of gifts. Some people have gifts that are less visible, like the white crayon. But if you put all your crayons together and you help each other draw that house, what you get is a better outcome. And if your community doesn't have the right color of crayon, then you can go to the next community and help each other. And so what you are doing is you're using, I was just going to say, you're using your crayons right now to make people's lives happier and better. But that wasn't going to make any sense. So I had to give you the whole story.
I love the story. I love the whole story. This is what Happy Talk is all about. It's about stories and sharing connections. And funny story, when I was very, very little, the kids at school used to call me Fayon, Fayon, brown crayon.
Well, there you go.
Always comes back.
It always comes back.
Elena, it's been magnificent talking to you today. Honestly, I love laughing. I like shedding happy tears as well. And it's just been lovely talking to you today. Thank you so much.
Likewise, and like we say in Mexico in Spanish, muchas gracias.
Oh, muchas gracias. And please give my love to Tracy as well and have a very happy Christmas and happy birthday.
Happy Christmas. A big virtual hug to you and everyone who's listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much to my guest, Elena Rodríguez Falcón. Your show and tell just knocked me sideways. That was just so wonderful. And to hear all about Oscar and how much he's inspired your life. I'm inspired. Thank you so much for sharing. It's now time for your happy happenings. This happy happening is literally hot off the press. I've received a text just today. While I was filming this, the text came through. And it's from my beautician. The beautiful Addis has let me know that she has brought another little human being into the world. And I'm just absolutely so happy because I was excited when she got pregnant. I was excited to find out that she was going to be having the baby soon. But it's like, when? And the news has just come through. So, hi everyone, we're so happy to introduce baby Javier, born on the 17th of November at 3 minutes past midnight, weighing in at 9 pounds 2 ounces. You go. Thank you all for your love and support. Oh, isn't that wonderful? So welcome to the world, baby Javier. Welcome. I cannot wait to meet you. So if you have any news to share, anything, small, medium, large, any size, I'd love to hear it. And you can just send me an email to happytalkwithfayondixon@gmail.com and I'll pop it on this podcast. So until next week, take care, and I look forward to catching up with you then with another fantastic guest.